then we'll read the verse and discuss. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Janapalava Jaya Giri Varadhari Jaya Giri Varadhari Gopi Janapalava Jaya Giri Varadhari Jaya Giri Varadhari Yasoda Nandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Yasoda Nandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. I will share my screen and we can read the book. Oh, host has disabled participant screen sharing.
You have to be a co-host.
Okay. Can you make me a co-host? I am now a co-host. Awesome. There we are. There is our first verse. So today we are discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 38, verses 1 through to 7. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Sukha Uvacha. Akrudopi chatam ratrim. Madhupuryam mahamati. Usidvaratam astaya. Rayayo Nandagokulam. Translation. Sukadeva Goswami said, after passing the night in the city of Mathura, the high-minded Akrura mounted his chariot and set off for the cowherd village of Nanda Maharaj. Purport. King Kamsa ordered Akrura to go to Vrindavan on the Ekadasi of the dark fortnight of the Vedic month of Falgun. After spending the night in Mathura, Akrura left early the next day. That morning, Nanda offered his prayers to Krishna in Vrindavan, and in the afternoon, the demon Vyoma was killed there. At dusk, Akrura entered the Lord's village. The purport here is just rounding up different pastimes, different things that are happening. At the end of the last chapter, you'll remember that Kamsa, he's heard from Narad Muni how Krishna is Vasudev's son. He's living with Nanda and Yasoda in Gokula, in Vrindavan, and then he sends Keshi, he sends Vyoma to kill them there. He brings in Akrura, orders him to go to Vrindavan to bring Krishna and Balaram to Mathura. And then he also calls Chanur and Mushtika and tells them about his plans for the wrestling match as well. So he has many pieces in play for his efforts to kill Krishna. And this commentary is just tying up those little pieces for us, see how it all fits together. Verse 2, I'm just going to read the translations now. As he traveled on the road, the great soul Akrura felt tremendous devotion for the lotus-eyed personality of Godhead, and thus he began to consider as follows. Sri Akrura thought, what pious deeds have I done? What severe austerities have I undergone? What worship performed in charity performed or charity given? I'll start again. What worship performed or charity given so that today I will see Lord Keshava? Verse 4, since I'm a materialistic person, absorbed simply in sense gratification, I think it is as difficult for me to have gotten this opportunity to see Lord Uttamashloka as it would be for one born a Sudra to be allowed to recite the Vedic mantras. Verse 5, but enough of such thoughts. After all, even a fallen soul like me can have the chance to behold the infallible Lord, for one of the conditioned souls being swept up along the river of time may sometimes reach the shore. Today, all my sinful reactions have been eradicated, and my birth has become worthwhile, since I will offer my obeisances to the Supreme Lord's lotus feet, which mystic yogis meditate upon. And this is the last verse. Indeed, today King Kamsa has shown me extreme mercy by sending me to the lotus feet of Lord Hari, who has now appeared in this world. Simply by the effulgence of his toenails, many souls in the past have transcended the insurmountable darkness of material existence and achieved liberation. Purport by disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Akrura noted how ironic it was that the envious, demoniac Kamsa had given him an extraordinary blessing by sending him to see the Supreme Lord Krishna. Om Gyan Timirandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jaina Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Rupa Shri Sanatana Bhata Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhata Dasa Raghunath Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Yena Mutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Suhoduto Gauradaye Pushpavantu Chitro Sando Tumonuno Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Kokesha Govika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So we are discussing Akrura's journey to Vrindavan. These are the first verses, the preliminary verses. The topic will be further expanded as you continue to read forward in further classes. But it's an interesting time to be reflecting on these verses. We are coming to the end of September, and many devotees are thinking or making plans or even embarking on a journey to Vrindavan as pilgrims during the month of Kartik. Generally, Kartik takes place in October each year. This year it's later. We had Purushottam Mas, which is the Adik Mas, the extra month that comes every 4 years. And so Kartik starts later, at the end of next month, at the end of October. I was on the phone with my parents yesterday, and I asked my mother if she was making plans to go, which she generally does. She generally stays the month of Kartik in Vrindavan. And she said this year she's uncertain. She's a bit worried about my dad. His health isn't that great. And so he's not as strong as he used to be. You yourself may be making plans. Some of you may have plans to go to Vrindavan this year during the sacred month of Kartik. I'm grateful that I have received such an invitation. And so at the end of the coming month, I'll be making that journey. Even if you're not, you may wish you were. You may wish that you had that opportunity. And today's class and the coming classes, we will be able to learn from Akrura's example or how to properly journey to Vrindavan. We will see his anticipation. We will see his devotion. We'll see his reverence. Today we are discussing these first 7 verses, how after receiving Kamsa's order to bring Krishna and Balaram to Mathura, this wrestling match where Kamsa intends to kill Krishna and Balaram, Akrura has mounted his chariot and he's set off for Vrindavan. And as he travels, he feels this devotion, we're told by Sukadeva Goswami. He feels tremendous devotion for Krishna. And he has this intense devotion and eagerness and anticipation of meeting Krishna. And this can remind us all as we travel as pilgrims on our journey to Vraja, we should be cultivating this intention and longing to connect with Krishna. Yes, Vrindavan is an exotic place. It can be fun to take a trip or a journey to be a pilgrim, but our longing and our anticipation should be that we want to deepen our connection with Krishna. I've given a context of a journey to Vrindavan, but we can widen this actually. We are all pilgrims. Every one of us has embarked on a journey as pilgrims to Vrindavan. Here we read of Akrura's journey to earthly Vrindavan. Earthly Vrindavan is an expansion of the eternal Vrindavan in the spiritual sky. And all of us are pilgrims. We have embarked on that journey. And so we can learn from Akrura the attitude, the right consciousness as we make this pilgrim's journey. Akrura knows it is a great blessing to enter Vraja, the holy land of Krishna's residence. And so he wonders, what is my qualification? He asks, what pious deeds have I done? What austerities have I undergone? What worship have I performed? What charity have I given that has afforded me this blessing to enter into Vrindavan? And then he reflects further and he says, actually, I'm a materialistic person. I'm absorbed in sense gratification. I don't know what's happened. Somehow my sinful reactions must have been eradicated because I find myself on this path to Vrindavan, the pilgrim's path. And I don't know what is the cause of this special mercy. And then in the 7th verse, we have this wonderful conclusion. He recognized, actually, it's Kamsa's mercy. Irony of all ironies. How is it possible that Kamsa, the one who hates Krishna so much, this demon, he is the cause of my good fortune here? So I love this idea of Akrura noting the irony of Kamsa as one who is merciful. Ati anugraham. Ati means great. Anugraha, mercy. Kamsa, he has performed a great act of mercy. Ati anugraha, towards me. When we combine words that don't necessarily fit together, we get an oxymoron. Ironic, mercy, those words together were like Kamsa and mercy. There's the oxymoron. Generally we wouldn't think of those words as sitting together. Words like, we do have them in English language, but we say something is old news. Like how do those words work together? Or we say something is an open secret. The Bhagavad Gita, Krishna consciousness is an open secret, but these words, they clash. What about deafening silence or virtual reality? These things become so common. We use these words so commonly now that we forget the irony that they convey. And so Kamsa and mercy, it's ironic, it's oxymoronic. And however, if we reflect further, irony. So irony is where there is some kind of twist, something unexpected transpires, something that we are not anticipating comes about. And if we think about it, mercy is the same. Mercy is different from justice. With justice, then things are going as per the natural order of things, as they ought to be. But then with mercy or grace, there's some special beneficence, some special arrangement that's being made where there's a twist. Someone who doesn't deserve, someone who has not earned a particular right, they receive it out of some kind of mercy. And so irony and mercy, they can sit together in an interesting way. Ironic mercy suggests a situation where there's an act of compassion and forgiveness carried out in a manner that involves these unexpected twists or contradictions. There's a paradox, a paradox of mercy. And so let's try to reflect then, think of some other examples from the Bhagavatam of the ironic mercy that maybe that Akura is considering here. Anything come to mind? That twist, the irony, the change in the story where something at surface value shouldn't be, but then it is because of some unexpected mercy. Or what about Ajamila, right? Ajamila, the good Brahmin gone bad. He's an example of ironic mercy. There's an unexpected twist of fate and an act of divine intervention. In his case, he was a thief and a murderer. The Yamadutas came to collect his soul as per their natural routine, their natural course of duty, but then they get stopped by the Vishnudutas. And the Yamadutas defend their actions. No, this is a sinful man. We have the right to take his soul. But the Vishnudutas say that everything you said about him is true. He is a bad man. But at the moment when his life air was about to leave his body, he chanted the holy name, Narayana. And that saves him from your hand. Ajamila, by chanting the holy name, has atoned for millions of births. Chanting can purify a thief, a drunkard, a betrayer, a killer, a sinner. When the name of the Lord is chanted, then Krishna will never abandon the chanter. And he treats that person who chants the name as his bhakta, and he washes away all the sins. And so in Krishna's eyes, this man, this Brahmana who turned bad, he is not a sinner, and he has no place with you. He has no place in the abode of Yama. And they anticipate the objection. They say, you might say he didn't even mean to chant. He didn't even mean to say the name Narayana. He was calling out to his son. We know that. We are aware of the situation, but still the power of the name is such that it protects even those who chant inadvertently, even those who chant unconsciously. And they give a nice example, one that Prabhupada would often use, actually. We can see where it comes from. They say, just as potent medicine, even swallowed unintentionally, still cures the diseased person, in the same way, because Ajamila chanted the holy name, even unconsciously, he will be saved from punishment by Yama. And then they give more examples. They say, even if you chant as a joke, even if you chant just for musical entertainment, maybe you've experienced it on Harinam, you're out chanting and you're serious about what you're doing, and then some people come along and they mock and they go, oh, Hari, 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 Krishna. They think it's lots of fun. In front of their friends, they mock dancing with the devotees. Someone has the iPhone. It's lots of fun. Here, the Vishnu Dutas, they anticipate that kind of mocking, joking reaction. They say, even that counts. It will destroy unlimited sins. Austerity, charity, vows, any other method may destroy sins, but they cannot uproot the very desires in the heart, but chanting will. And such an amazing discourse on the power of the name the Vishnu Dutas gave. And in doing so, they made the case for Ajamila's release from the bondage of the Yamadutas and his having to face Yama. So there's one nice example of unexpected mercy, ironic mercy, irony in the sense of an unexpected twist or turn. There are other great examples, actually in the same canto, the 6th canto of the Bhagavatam, where the Ajamila story appears. There's the story of Vritrasura. There's a great twist in a story. Indra's fighting a demon. He looks like a demon. He walks like a demon. He talks like he doesn't talk like one. He looks like one. He has these huge menacing form, copper red eyes and fiery eyes. He carries a trident. When the demigods see him, they flee. Indra puts on a brave face, stands his ground, but then when he throws his weapon, well, the demigods throw their weapons and they're just swallowed up by this Vritrasura. So they come back with another weapon, a weapon given by Vishnu. Vishnu gave them a plan how to kill Vritrasura. But then Indra, when he stands in front of Vritrasura, he instead uses his club. Why the club? That's what he knows to use. He has more faith in his club because it's helped him in the past. Even though he has the weapon of Vishnu in the other hand, he's not using it. And Vritrasura says, you have no faith in Vishnu. Vishnu has given you the plan to kill me, and you're using this club that has no power against me. You must have more faith in the Lord. And so Indra's still not using his Vajra given by Vishnu. And so Vritrasura prays. He says, my dear Lord, please let me always remember you, even though I am in the form of a demon, in the body of a demon. Let me always remember you and let me always have the association of your devotees like Narada Muni. And then he turns back to Indra and he says, do your duty. Have faith in Vishnu. And so Indra, he starts to use the Vajra given by Vishnu. And after Indra kills him, the question is there. Who was that person? Who was that person who looked like a demon, but spoke like a Vaishnava, spoke like a devotee? And Parikshit Maharaj, he wants to know the answer to that question. And so Sukadeva Goswami tells him the story of his previous life as Chitraketu Maharaj, someone who had received the holy name, a mantra from Narad Muni, and had darshan of Shankarshana. And so Bhagavatam actually has many such stories of unexpected, ironic mercy. Prahlad Maharaj, he's the demon devotee. There's an oxymoron. One of the greatest devotees. He's the king of the demons. Prahladas chamidetyanam, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada's translation, among the demons, I am Prahlad. Among the demons, I am saintly Prahlad. Like, how do those things work together? That is the nature of mercy. That is the nature of grace. And in that sense, we also are examples of this ironic or unexpected mercy, the idea American Vaishnava or Western Vaishnava. It doesn't sound strange to us today, but less than 50 years ago, it really did. The idea of American or Western Vaishnava, for Vaishnavas in India, that idea was strange, ironic. How would this be possible? Can they really be devotees? I remember growing up in Vrindavan and Mayapur in the Gurukul. The local people thought ISKCON was a CIA cover-up. Really. There were, all kinds of strange rumors that the fountain in Mayapur is actually kind of, opens up and it's actually a satellite dish. The lotus is a satellite dish, receiving signals from Washington, all kinds of strange things, because people just really couldn't fathom American Vaishnava or Western Vaishnava. The Vaishnavas are so rare. They are sa mahatma sudurlabha. Krishna says in the Gita, such a great soul is sudurlabha, is most rare. The Bhagavatam, it gives such high regard to the Vaishnava, considered more elevated than high-born brahmanas. And yet, here we are, a Sangha in New York City, living and practicing in a community of Vaishnavas. And this is only possible by the twist of fate, the unexpected turn of events of our having unexpectedly receiving Srila Prabhupada's mercy, either directly, Hari Purush Prabhu is with us, indirectly, through Prabhupada's disciples, followers. And so here, the source of Akrura's unexpected, ironic mercy is Kamsa. And this is what makes it ironic. How is it possible that Kamsa can bless anyone to enter the Dham? What is his qualification? As we continue to read, we'll find in chapter 44, when Krishna finally comes face to face with Kamsa. There's this build-up from chapter 1, 10th canto, all the way to 44. Kamsa is fearing Krishna. There's this tension through all of these chapters. But they actually don't come face to face until chapter 44. Kamsa finally meets his maker. He finally meets the person that he fears most, for whom, when he sees Krishna, Sukadeva Goswami tells us, he sees death personified. But the wonderful thing is this: he achieves he achieves Sarupya Mukti. He doesn't merge with Krishna as the others. Like Aghasura, when Krishna kills him, everyone sees his soul rise into the sky, and then Krishna comes out of the belly of the serpent, and then his soul is seen to enter into Krishna's form. Sayujya Mukti, something that yogis achieve as well through their meditation and austerity, penance. Shishupal, everyone saw in the assembly of Yudhisthira Maharaj at the Rajasuya Yagya, when Krishna severed Shishupal's head with Sudarshan. Shishupal's soul rose into the sky, and then it was seen to enter into Krishna's form. What happened with Kamsa? When Krishna jumped up onto the dais, grabbed him by the hair, threw him down, actually pulled him into the public arena and killed him, actually, so that everyone would see, because they're living in terror of this tyrant. He gave him those blows of his fist, and then he dragged his body in the arena as well, so that people could say, he really is dead, people. You don't have to fear this tyrant any longer, this usurper of the throne, this person who's imprisoned his own father, who's jailed his own sister, who's killed his own nephews, and so many others. You don't have to fear him anymore. But what happened to him? He achieved Sarupya Mukti. He achieved a body in Vrindavan, a spiritual form. Wow. Not merging. He gets a spiritual body in the eternal spiritual sky. That's a twist. So how is this possible? Despite his evil nature, his evil deeds, there's some redeeming quality. As Ajamila had a redeeming quality in having chanted the holy name, even unintentionally, as Chitraketu, Vritrasura in his previous life, had a redeeming quality in having received the mercy of Narad Muni and taken also to the chanting of the holy name, as American Vaishnavas have a redeeming quality in having received Srila Prabhupada's mercy and taken to hearing and chanting the practices of bhakti. So Kamsa also had a redeeming quality. And what was it?
He was thinking of Krishna always.
Yeah, he's always thinking of Krishna. He's never stops thinking of Krishna. Smartavya satatam Vishnu mi vismartavyam najatu krit. The essence of all Vedic rules and regulations are: one, the prescription, always remember Krishna. Two, the restriction, never forget Krishna. Kamsa fulfilled that. With envy, with fear, with hatred, but nonetheless, he was always thinking of Krishna, and that redeemed him. It purified his heart, such that when Krishna killed him, he had no karmas left. He had no more lives to come back and live. He's transferred to the spiritual sky. So these accounts, they should fill us with hope. Hope that we too, as pilgrims, can enter into Vrindavan. We can learn from Akrura's example, not only how to enter earthly Vrindavan, but how to travel as pilgrims to enter eternal Vrindavan if we consciously and sincerely cultivate bhakti, thinking of Krishna, chanting his holy name, taking shelter of Vaishnavas. Krishna may be disposed. It's a maybe, because he's not obliged. He may be disposed to be merciful upon us it may be, just may be, that despite our lack of qualifications, we become examples of this irony or this ironic mercy. It may be that as recipients of this ironic mercy, our pilgrimage concludes with our awakening the highest treasure of prema bhakti, and that in this lifetime we are granted entry into eternal Vrindavan. So I see, Will, you have your hand raised, and I will take comments and questions. Let me just conclude with a prayer based on what we've discussed today as a summary. Beloved Krishna, O divine dweller of Vrindavan, hear our humble voices as we gather as pilgrims, following the path of Akrura's journey to sacred Vrindavan. Akrura, in his humility, questioned, how is it possible for me to enter Vrindavan? I have no qualifications. In his quest for grace, he recognized the purity demanded of those who tread upon the sacred soil. As Akrura meditated on his unworthiness, he discovered an unexpected truth. Kamsa, in his malevolence, had unwittingly become an instrument of mercy. How ironic it is, dear Lord, that even the darkest shadows can serve to illuminate the path of your divine presence. Mercy often appears where it is least anticipated, a paradoxical dance of contradiction and revelation, as exemplified in the tales of those touched by your grace in the most unexpected moments. Ajamila, Chitraketu, Prahlad. In these stories, we see glimmers of hope, like stars in the night sky. It is our hope that we too, dear Krishna, may one day become embodiments of ironic mercy. Though we stumble and falter on our pilgrim's path, let our hearts be nourished by this hope, for your mercy knows no bounds. With every step we take, may we draw closer to the eternal embrace of Vrindavan, where your divine pastimes forever, where your divine presence forever resides. As pilgrims, we offer our devotion and seek your eternal shelter. In spite of Akrura's journey, in the spirit of Akrura's journey, we embark on our own, trusting that your love will lead us home. So, Will, you had your hand raised.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can.
I can't even hear whether or not you hear me. I'm having some problems with my hearing, but I can speak. And I'm over here in the hospital, and they're trying to help me with it, and they kept unmuting me. No, you're gonna mess up my meeting, please. But at least they got to hear the songs, Krishna songs. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, can you put in the chat, what is a Vaishnava? And what does it take to be a Vaishnava?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm very curious.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you, Will. Thank you for your question. And thank you for joining us from hospital.
Yes.
Yeah, despite all obstacles, you're here. And so we are grateful that you could join us. What is a Vaishnava? I was asking. Yeah. A Vaishnava is a devotee of Krishna, Vishnu. So the term Vaishnava means a devotee of Vishnu. Krishna is Vishnu. They are non-different, just different aspects or different names. And so a Vaishnava is a devotee of Krishna, someone who chants Krishna's name, someone who prays to Krishna, someone who offers their devotion to Krishna is a Vaishnava, someone who cultivates bhakti or devotion for Krishna. So great question. That's the surface answer that I can give. Otherwise, what is a Vaishnava is a very deep and profound question. But yeah, just for the sake of a general understanding in terms of communication, A Vaishnava means, otherwise in English we'll say devotee. The devotee. We'll say a Vaishnava, one who is a Vaishnava, one who is a devotee. So thank you so much, Will. Bruce, you have your hand raised.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Will. Yeah, stay well. We wish you a speedy recovery.
Hare. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, good morning. The fountain of your wisdom is very encouraging and very appreciated. Thank you. I am heading on a pilgrimage this morning to New Vrindavan.
Yeah, we see you're traveling there.
Yes, I'm reflecting on what you had said in terms of ironic changes, and the story that I won't have the details. Perhaps you could fill in the details, but the story of the poor man who was reading the Bhagavatam, and there was a bunch of, I will say, Vaishnavas or devotees that were looking at him in the courtyard, and they realized he was reading the Bhagavatam upside down. And I can have my moments where I feel like I'm reading the Bhagavatam upside down. And then there are moments where suddenly from one page to the next, it all becomes very clear. And I will deem that as Krishna's mercy to help me understand. So again, I apologize for not having the names and the details, but this story always resonated strongly with me.
Wonderful. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Bruce. I love that story as well. And it involves Lord Chaitanya, actually, when he was traveling in South India, and he went to the sacred temple of Sri Rangam. And while there, he noticed this Brahmana who would sit and try to read each day and recite the sacred verses of it was actually the Bhagavad Gita.
Oh, excuse me.
And there were so many other scholarly Brahmins around him, very learned, and they would kind of mock him because his pronunciation was poor. He wasn't very literate. But Lord Chaitanya noticed that he would cry tears of love. He would cry tears of ecstasy. And so Lord Chaitanya sat with him and asked, why do you cry these tears as you endeavor to recite the Bhagavad Gita? And this devotee, he said, when I chant, he said, my guru has instructed me to recite the Bhagavad Gita every day, but I'm not literate. I try my best. He said, but when I sit and chant, I see a vision of Krishna driving Arjuna's chariot. And that vision, how Krishna is so kind and affectionate to his devotee, moves my heart and tears flow from my eyes. And so Lord Chaitanya, he embraced this devotee and he said, you are the devotee who actually understands the Bhagavad Gita. Like in front of all of those other scholars, he embraced this illiterate devotee as the one who actually understood the Gita, that it's about Krishna's love for his devotee. And so, yeah, beautiful story and nice connection to the topics that we're discussing today. And we wish you well with your pilgrimage as you journey to New Vrindavan that Prabhupada has established here in the United States. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pray for us, Bruce Almighty, Prabhu, please. Take us with you.
I shall. I definitely shall.
Thank you, Prabhu. Shri Prahlad Prabhu, why couldn't Kamsa go to confront Krishna himself? Is it true that every time he attempted to enter Vrindavan, he would turn into a gopi? Is that true?
The Bhagavatam doesn't mention that. Yeah. So in Vrindavan, there are lots of local laws, local stories, and that may be one of them. I'm not familiar with that story. It's an interesting idea that he would be, I don't know. But I do remember, so Gopi, I don't know, because I do believe I read in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary that the body he received when he got Sarupya Mukti was that of a cowherd boy.
Cool. Good to know. Thank you, Prabhu. Everybody, turn your cameras on, please. Gopal Krishna Prabhu ki jai. This is the Kurukshetra. Kurukshetra moment. Hare Krishna. Thank you for turning on your cameras, dear devotees.
Point it this way, the deities are up. Just tip the screen, just the screen. Lean it back. Like this. Oh, like that, okay.
Thank you.
Kalyanti Jiram Ganti.
This was the class. Shripalat Prabhu, big ki jai to you. Thank you for taking questions. That your classes are always very sincere. We see how you are enjoying Krishna consciousness and then the pastimes, and it's very inspiring. Thank you. Okay, so with this, we're going to wrap it up. Have a wonderful, fulfilling Friday. Give it to Krishna, and come again tomorrow. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Kamsa Prabhu ki jai.